Good afternoon even. Simon from Prestige Garden Services, and currently we're on site in the lovely Shadwell Parks in West Yorkshire, completing some surgery on some beautiful hedge in the background. Now I've got my glasses on and I've got my nice hat on because obviously clearly sun is a factor in regards to health and safety, but also that of obviously the spray back on the furs and the cuttings in your eyes, certainly when you're working above your head. In addition to that, health and safety, a headwear would be required obviously with a hard hat, but we're only using soft finishing cuttings yet on the hedging fir trees behind me. We've actually also worked on some quality prunus laurel here, where we've opened up and exposed the actual corner piece. Now the client behind me, I stand here, the remit was obviously that of the hedge, and as you can see the shape very gently now has had almost a kind of bowing effect. See my finger, and that is obviously caused by growth in respect to the sunlight which is behind me. So as we see from this particular point with this particular hedge, everything is growing this way into the driveway, quite a wide driveway, and the problem with the client is they couldn't get the cars on the drive. When cutting hedges, there's always a couple of tips to consider. One is that really you want a thinner base at the top than you do with the bottom, and the reason for that is the sunlight is obviously above our heads and it hits the top of the firs or the top of any hedge first, and with that obviously that is where the growth is going to happen quickly. So effectively speaking, you don't want a heavy topped hedge bush obviously at the top here. What you want is a quite a nice even natural finish where the sun can penetrate the base as well as the middle and the top. So we don't want to recreate what the problem that we've had here, which is effectively the hedge growing at a 30, 45 degree angle from the top, which obviously then starts to push and lean over slowly, again creating obstruction for the driver or the passenger or the owners of the property to be able to get their vehicles in. Other than that, I always like to kind of clean cut some of the actual branches right against the actual stems here, the base, the leaders, and just get a much more cleaner cut, aesthetically looking. So I switched the camera here. Let's have a look. Hi Nicola, how you doing? There's James Witt. Jasmine, how you doing? Janine, Simon there, how are you? Hope you're having a good day. But this is a bit of surgery at the moment that's being completed. As you can see if I step back here, this has been quite a big job to complete because it's been done correctly and professionally. There's been a good 3-ton sacks of waste being gathered here, which is actually really good quality for decomposition. This will obviously either be taken away from the waste and dumped, or some of it can be used for decomposition. Great for composting, and you can see some of the bigger branches that have been taken down, which is obviously, as you can see, quite cleanly cut and sawn from the base. Some of the equipment that you've got, obviously hedge trimmers, has been obviously used, the smaller one, and they're quite easily to use in regards to the management of it. What I mean by that is obviously you've got several different types of hedge trimming techniques, but also the equipment that you can use. You use a electric one, you're bound to go through it with a cable. Monty Don, great gardener, and also incredible tips he gave. Certainly with a cable, you're always going to cut through it, so a good tip would be perhaps to take maybe 1 metre or 2 metres worth of hose pipe, put it round the actual cable nearest the actual engine, and then obviously should you do pierce it or cut the cable, that hose pipe will get jammed in the actual jaws of the saw, and it won't cut through the actual wires. Other than that, obviously petrol are quite heavy, so you have to have some form of muscle to work above your head. Obviously when you're doing that you need ladders, and if not, if you haven't got the strength, then you obviously use the long extended hedge trimmers, which we have. This job is almost now complete. Other than that, we've disinfected our tools, and I'm just going over it now again, just basically tidying up on some of the cuts. If I come here quite close to this particular hedge now, I don't know if you can pick this up. Secateurs, we've gone through it and taken off a lot of the broken branches, the broken edges, because it just looks unsightly. So this is a client that's brought us in to do a job here to open up the driveway so they can get the vehicles on. All sorts of different types of reasons why clients want the hedge trimming, and it's obviously best done in the winter time. One, because you can shape a hedge much easier in the actual winter time. You haven't got the situation where you've got browning through the summer. People want leaves, green, dacious, bushy hedging, such as this, as you can see. So literally, if I just take you here on a position that way against the actual driveway, you can only see you've probably got a foot of green leaf. But once you take that down, it opens up obviously that of the brown, and it looks quite unsightly. So a lot of the hedge trimming is completed in winter time, quite simply because everything else is brown, and clearly you can start to shape things ready for next season. So that's a little bit of information there from Simon at Prestige Garden Services, currently on site here, and it's a beautiful day here. You can see the work that's been completed just on the right hand side of this property, and they are quite tall. We've managed to get to the top, to work our way from the bottom upwards in a sweeping motion, and that obviously of the health and safety aspect when you're dealing with very sharp tools, that of gloves, footwear, and obviously eyewear and hatwear. Other than that, I'm just finishing off here, as you can see some of the splits here as we go up the base. You can see where the hedge trimmers have cut, and it's just left some unsightly cut. So I'll be completing this now very shortly with these fellas here, Gardner, good brand, tree loppers, and we'll take those branches off. So should you need any further information, or certainly any services from Prestige Garden Services within your property, both on landscaping, driveways, patios, decking, fencing, both we're turning towards the end of the year now, so we'll be working more on the indoors, working with our joiners and our plumbers and our electricians, joiners, etc. Get in touch. It's from Prestige Garden Services, wishing you a good day. Looking forward to tomorrow, outdoors. This is great working outdoors this type of the year. September, October, autumn, winter. Weather like this, it's going to be 23, 24 degrees tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to it. Have a good afternoon, everybody. Enjoy. From Simon at Prestige.